fast, fatal heart impact. Past painful scars, in fact, I blast tasteful bars and past. I back up my actions back, don't ask, grab reactions, jacked. Attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start this mini shot, I'm gonna at least express something. A lot of you guys may want me to bring in the Xenomorph Queen, a lot of you guys may want me to bring in the Facehuggers, the Royal Jelly, and the whole 9 yards for a lot of Xenomorph related stuff. So, let me just express this. This will be a quirk. I will not be adding that stuff because, really, it would basically just destroy the entire series over time. Now, the reason why I'm stating that is because, essentially, the Xenomorphs in heavy numbers, they can wipe out civilizations. They can reproduce so fast that you would not be able to keep up in numbers as to how many you can kill by the time how many are born. Now, with that being said, this is off the back of the Yaoja Girlfriend series where I looked heavily into the Xenomorphs, and I've learned a lot about them, even things I didn't previously know. Now, I do hope you guys do understand all those cuts that I will not be adding to it. So, let us begin our story. Our story will open with a warehouse, where, right now, heroes are checking out claims that they have had on the report. People have claimed that they've seen something here. They've claimed that there was a monster here, and they did hear screaming. However, whenever they came in and turned the lights on, they didn't find very much. They found evidence of, well, people dying. There were bodies scattered about, and there was even blood on the floor and walls. Now, it was something that the heroes they were heavily disturbed by. These men they were ripped apart, and it looks like whatever did it, it took its sweet time on some of them. However, for the ones that would, from what the evidence would suggest, ran, they were killed on the spot. Now, the hero they do actually walk over to a corpse, them going to look down and see the large puncture wound in the person's back. And they actually do go to bring up the shirt to see exactly how large this thing might be. Okay, this is bad. What do you mean? Alright, look, we need to spread out, clear the area, and make sure whatever did this isn't here. Whatever did this? It's gotta be a villain. I know, but we don't know. Could be a villain, could be an animal with a quirk, those are rare, but cases like that have been documented before where an animal possesses some strange power, breaks into a place, and people end up getting killed. Besides, this place has been abandoned for the last 5 years, so an animal making its home here wouldn't be too far-fetched. Alright. So, what now? Well, let's see. Light is still on. That's good, so there's something going on here. Power still happens to run through the lights, but a lot of them, they're busted down. So we might need to use flashlights. Alright, I think there's some back in the car. Now, the person need to go walking away. As the pro, they're trying to examine many other things, looking up towards the wall and trying to see what else happened here. The blood. The prints on the wall. They're so large and misshapen. Okay, so if that's any indication, then this thing, it might be huge. Okay, so that's not good. Now, you do actually have where a scream is heard, and the pro, they do go to turn around. As we do have where the pro, when they do turn around, they see something run around a corner that was dark. And just as soon as it appeared, it basically went back into the shadows. The pro going to run over to where their friend was. As, when they do so, you do actually have where he does go to reach out for his friend before they do just go to turn around and they're holding onto their arm, talking about how they saw whatever the fuck that thing was. Okay, what happened? What happened? I don't know. Jesus. I just walked into the hallway and down it. Fuck. They got one of our guys. What? It's still in here, whatever it is. Just down the hall. We didn't even hear it. What? The person going to at least go to look around the corner very cautiously. When they do, they don't see anything. It's just a pitch black hallway down there. However, when you do actually go to look down the hallway that does have the lights on, you do see what the person they do see. Their guy, he's laying against the wall, slumped over. And, from what they can tell, he has claw marks all over his body. And even parts of his face have been ripped off. Jesus Christ. Okay, we need to call this in. Can we even get back to the car? Okay, let's see. Okay, there were 6 of us. Okay, call one of the other heroes. Do you have their number? Hang on. Let me just... The person going to reach down for their phone. As you do actually have wherever they did go to reach down for their phone and go to turn it on, the screen lighting up, the power did start to short out. The person going to turn their head as the lamps above them, they do start to blow out and somewhat just shatter. And it doesn't make sense. Whatever is happening here, it's not normal. And then there's that. As you do actually have where something can be heard. They hear it smash against a shipping container. And when they do to turn, a light does immediately just go to blow. However, they did get a glimpse of it. For a solid second, he saw whatever it was. It was wrong. Its head was long. Its tail, its body, its appendages, they're just so stretched. And then there's that sound. Now, the hero, he does go to book it. Him going to grab onto his friend's wrist before they do go running down the hallway. And a sound can be heard as claw marks, they are heard scraping against the metal. Now, we do at least currently cut to Deku, who, he's running and sprinting down the hallway after jumping off the container. He's chasing after the pros. And when he does get to catch up, he does get to throw out his tail and directly stab into one of the pros, throwing them forwards as he is going to stab his tail into the wall to block off the other pro. The pro, confused. As one of the creatures run up on them and go to grab them, he does go to pin the hero up against the wall. What the fuck? What are you doing here? You can talk? Of course I can. Now, the pro does watch as the face, it does somewhat start to, well, bend. It does start to reshape. And it does start to look a bit more human. As the eyes can be seen and then a face that is more human. The area around it is still wrapped up in whatever that stuff is. And then there's the teeth. The sharpened teeth and the animalistic look in this guy's eyes. Who are you? Who am I? I live here. You are invading my home. Okay. We'll leave. We'll leave. Just calm down. But why? Why do people do anything? For survival? I don't know. I was left in the woods. Parents, during a camping trip, left me. Found new home. Stayed here. No family. I'm alone. Okay. But, okay, just change back. Whatever you're doing, it's wrong. Listen, we can get you help. Help? Yes. We can help you find your family, if that's what you want, but what you're doing is wrong. Do you have a name? Name. Izuku. Okay, Izuku, just calm down. Okay? Now, the person they actually watch, as the lengthy person in front of them, they do start to somewhat shrink. And then, you do have where the person, they actually go to bring up their hands and take off one of their jackets. As they do go to wrap it around Deku, talking about how, however long he's been out here, he needs to know. It's not healthy for a boy his age. Hmm? I'm... well, I don't know. Okay, okay, listen. We can get you help. Do you know how old you are? Your birthday, your last name, maybe? It can help us all. If we put an investigation out, we can find a good place for you. A safe place. Hmm. What is... Oh, okay, the man gave me Deku the current year. As Deku expresses that he is about 11 years old. Jesus. How long have you been out here? I don't know. Stop counting. Okay, okay. Let's, Christ. I need to make a phone call, okay? Hang on. Are you hungry? Here. The person reaching into their pocket. And when they do go to pull out a candy bar, they do hand it over to Deku, expressing that he might not like it, but this is one of his favorites. And right now, he needs him to understand. He's not a threat. He's not someone here to hurt him. In fact, he's here to help him. He is a hero. And Deku does go to look up at the hero after hearing that word. The hero, they do see Deku's distaste, his, well, anger. The look on his face turns sour at that word. Hero. Yes. Okay, listen. I need to go outside. Will you let me? Now, the person you go to take 2 steps to their left, stepping over their friend's body. As Deku, he keeps his eyes on the hero the whole time. Before, whenever the hero, they do take a few more steps away, Deku does go to look down at the candy wrapper and go to start opening it up. As whenever the hero does break eye contact with Deku, he does go to turn and walk very fast. Now, we do have Deku. Deku, he remembers what one of these things are. He hasn't had one in so long. And then, there is a simple problem. He doesn't trust that person. He can't trust anybody. He's been left on his own for years. And right now, he does think back. And this time, Deku's gone a little bit feral. However, you do actually have whenever Deku was a lot younger. He was born with a strange power. At first, his parents thought it might have been just acid blood. So, that's not too weird. However, there was a problem the doctors had whenever they tried to weigh Deku and accurately figure out if he was a healthy baby. Deku was slightly heavier than most babies, even though he looked a bit more small. And that was a problem. However, upon closer examination, Deku's teeth seemed to be made of metal. So they made the assumption that his bones were also made of metal as well. It could be that a strong iron is formed in his bones because of the acid that would corrode the calcium in his body. Now, this was something that doctors they were hypothesizing, and even certain scientists they wanted to know a bit more about Deku's anatomy, since it was very strange at the time. Now, there was worries about if Deku would grow or not. However, whenever Deku did start to show signs he was, a lot less worry was put there. Now, you'd also at least have Hasashi and Inko. These two, they were very happy. And they took a lot of care with Deku. As the years started to go on, Deku, he grew and was a healthy child. However, there was the day he unlocked his second mutation. The day he went to the quirk doctor, and they found out that he can actually change his body a bit more. And Deku, he himself was actually very confused. he thought it was kind of normal. He can hear things, smell things, and, well, whenever he's in the dark, he can see pretty well. Doctors, they just assume that that could be a side effect of the acidic acid in his blood. It could be that it might somehow affect his quirk and power his eyes or something. They didn't exactly know. Now, there was even the fact that they did start to take a special interest. Deku, he had a secondary mutation, and the doctors, they were able to show it off quite a bit. However, there was actually Inko and Hisashi. They were very surprised by it. Deku was able to elongate one of his arms and one of his fingers. However, the rest of his hand, it did still look kind of weird. And even the doctor expressed that Deku, he would need to focus more. He needed to learn to control this strange power. And, in time, he believes that he'll actually make a very fine pro hero. However, he's not exactly too sure how his quirk does work, since secondary mutations, they're actually very rare, and even then, they do sort of have a randomizing effect. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay, come on, Izuku. Now, Inko, she'll go to leave, and she does still at least think about what she saw. That strange appendage. It was so... well, it looked creepy, that's for damn sure. Now, there actually was, whenever Deku, he did start to try and focus more on his quirk, and learn a whole lot more about it. Deku, he was actually very happy. And a lot of other people, they were kind of weirded out by his quirk whenever he was in classes, and even at school. And that was a problem. As Deku started to learn more and more about his strange power, there was eventually the day he fully manifested this power. And that was the camping trip. Hisashi and Inko, they took Deku out for camping because it was a special occasion. And Deku, whenever he was out playing in the woods, he tried focusing on his power. Deku was running around and having fun. And whenever he went to go fall over a tree, he did sort of hit his head. Now, Deku, he was kind of confused and he got back up. However, there was a problem. He inadvertently started using his power. And whenever he could look down at his hands, both of them, they were changed. However, he didn't understand. His body, it felt weird. His body felt strange. And then there's the fact that whenever he's looking around, he doesn't feel like he needs to blink. He doesn't understand. And he can hear things. Now, Deku was very confused. And he did try to make his way back to the campsite where him and his parents were staying. Now, whenever Deku did arrive back, you did actually have our Inko, whenever her and Hisashi were going to get something out of the car, they directly turned and stared at Deku. And for a minute, it took them a minute to realize exactly what they were staring at. The monster in front of them, it was horrifying to look at. And then there's the fact that it's walking right towards them and it looks like it's hungry. It looks like it's gonna hurt them. And there was actually whenever Deku tried to open his mouth to say something. However, all that came out was a strange sound. It sounded sort of like a scream. And the moment it exited Deku's mouth, Inko and Hisashi, they immediately got on the defensive. Inko running around and going to try and grab something out of the glove box. As Hisashi, he had to go to turn and try and bring up his hands to get ready with his own quirk. He wasn't going to let whatever this thing was hurt them. And there actually was whenever Hisashi he tried to scream at Inko to go find Izuku, since he might be out there. Now, Deku did go a step forwards, as he tried to say something and reach out his hand. And then there actually was Hisashi. Inko, she tossed something to him whenever she was going in the glove box. And Hisashi, he did go to turn and catch it before going to close the car door and going to hold it up. As Hisashi, he's holding a gun to his son. And he doesn't even realize it. Now, Hisashi, he tries to tell Deku that he is not going to hurt them, and that he'll shoot if it comes any closer. Now, Deku tried to turn off his power. However, he couldn't. And then there was something strange. He felt a ringing in his ears and Deku did go to bring his hands up. However, he couldn't feel them. He couldn't feel his ears. These sounds, they were too much. Now, the moment Deku did go to let out a terrified scream, Hisashi, he assumed this thing was gonna pounce, attack them. So, he fired bullets at it. And he was horrified to watch as the blood that came out was green. It was corrosive. And Deku, nature took over. He did go to rush back into the woods. He was wounded, and he was hurt. Hisashi and Inko, they tried to look for Deku. However, Deku, he just kept running. And he was never found. Now, we do currently at least have where Deku is currently sitting in an interrogation room. And he's being asked a few questions by pros. Did I do something wrong? You hurt people, young man. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. Listen, we've been trying to contact your parents. We've been trying to find them. But there's been no luck. Listen, things are very bad, but you were abandoned by them. You were hurt by them, from what your story is. And, well, we don't even know. Listen, there have been multiple missing persons reports in that area. And then there was the most recent, and then there's the pros. We've tried adding it up. Listen, we need to hold someone accountable. And while you're... Christ, this is so complicated, but we aren't going to try and get you in trouble. We just want to know what happened, okay? Can you be honest with us? I can. Okay. So tell it again. I don't know how. I tried going home. What? I tried going home. It didn't work. What do you mean? Everyone called me monster. It didn't work. Okay. So, your quirk, exactly what is it? My quirk, I call it monster. He protects me. I'm okay. Okay. Alright. Now, you do have where the man-eater is going to stand back up. And he talks about how, for right now, he's going to make a phone call. And Deku, after everything is sorted out, he's going to go into Child Protective Services. And maybe they'll find him a home. Maybe things will be okay. They need to send him to a school, or at the very least in a therapy, because of exactly the traumatic experiences he may have had. And the fact is, he's kind of relying on his animal instincts here, isn't he? What do you mean? The entire time I've been speaking to you, kid, I've been walking around the room, trying to listen, reading the report, and anytime I glance up at you, you're staring at me with the eyes of a predator. Is that bad? Well, it's not good. However, that's another problem. That hungry look in your eye. It's only one I've ever seen in the eyes of a feral dog. One that it wants to tear into something. So, we need to fix that, alright? Fix? Now, Deku, he kind of doesn't understand. Well, he does know exactly what that does mean. He's kind of scared of it. And right now, Deku is trying to think. He isn't handcuffed to the table, and the door is right there. However, that man, he has a gun. And Deku does try to wonder. If he can get out, maybe, just maybe, he'll be okay. He can go back on his own, find a new place to hide. That's all he wants. He doesn't want to be hurt. He wants to be left alone. More people will call him monster. People screamed and shouted at him before. Now, Deku, he actually does somewhat fall into a bit of a trance. as whenever the minute he does have his back turned to Deku, Deku does get a change. Before, a tail does pierce through the guy's back, and the guy he does is going to look down, dropping the reports as you do have where Deku does go bolting from the room. And a lot more people they do see him, as on the news later that day it was reported about a special incident. And right now someone they're watching. They're watching and they're curious, since they have heard of strange things like this. However, the person in question, yeah, they happen to be the son of a pro hero. And from what he can tell, there is a feral dog out on the loose, and someone needs to catch it. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. And I do hope that it does give at least a good idea as to where this mini shot would go if it does become an actual story, since it's kind of a complicated one. Anyway guys, have an amazing day.